The morning fog clung thick to the ocean's surface like a ghost refusing to let go. The sea was unnaturally quiet, save for the dull humming of the Kathleen May, a rusted but reliable fishing boat cutting slowly through the icy waters off the coast of southeastern Alaska. Nate Harlan stood at the edge of the deck, coffee in one hand, eyes scanning the calm expanse of gray. The others were still prepping gear: winches, nets, bait tanks. Nothing unusual about this trip. It was routine, predictable, until something broke the horizon. Hey, what's that? Nate squinted, pointing his mug toward a dark mass bobbing in the water. His older brother, Lucas, turned with a grunt. What, a log? Not sure. Doesn't look like it's drifting. Curious now, Lucas grabbed the binoculars hanging by the cabin door and peered through. He went still. What the hell? What is it? Not a log, he muttered, handing the binoculars to Nate. And not a seal either. Through the glass, Nate's breath caught. The dark figure moved, not with the slow roll of tide, but with effort. Arms, or paws, splashed against the waves. Wet fur glistened in the morning haze. And then, the head lifted. "Oh my God," Nate whispered. "It's a bear." Suddenly, the calm deck buzzed with activity. "You're kidding? No way that's a bear. Out here? That's 20 miles from shore." "Binoculars don't lie," Nate snapped. "It's a bear, and it's in trouble." The creature thrashed in the surf, its movements sluggish, erratic. It kept dipping beneath the surface, then resurfacing, mouth agape, drawing shallow breaths. Its body rolled sideways as if losing the strength to keep upright. The youngest crew member, Tommy, stepped forward, his face pale. "How the hell did it get out here?" "Glacier runoff, maybe?" Lucas offered. "Or it swam chasing prey and got pulled out by current." "None of that matters if it drowns in the next 2 minutes," Nate growled. The debate stopped cold. The men stared silently as the bear went under again, this time not reappearing. The water stilled. Only ripples remained. Nate didn't hesitate. He kicked off his boots, tossed his jacket aside, and sprinted toward the railing. "Nate, don't!" Lucas barked. "It's a bear. It'll kill you." "He's drowning," Nate shot back, breath already shallow from adrenaline. "I won't let it happen." And with that, he dove. The cold punched his chest like a hammer. It took everything to keep his muscles from seizing up as he plunged beneath the surface, arms slicing through the dark water, eyes scanning. There, a flash of fur, a paw. Nate swam hard, ignoring the burning in his lungs, the crushing cold. He reached the bear just as it surfaced again, weakly gasping, barely moving. Up close, its youth was clear, smaller than a full-grown grizzly, maybe 2 or 3 years old, but it was still massive and terrified. Its eyes, wild and glazed with panic, locked onto Nate's. The bear choked, flailed. Nate hesitated for half a heartbeat, then lunged forward, wrapping one arm around its body. "I've got you! I've got you!" Suddenly, a paw swung out with surprising force, striking Nate square in the chest. The impact knocked the wind out of him. He slipped beneath the waves, the world around him muffled and blue. Above, on the boat, Lucas shouted in horror. "Nate!" A rope coiled through the air and hit the water. Tommy dove to grab it. Below, Nate struggled, his limbs numb, lungs screaming. He saw the bear above him, thrashing, floundering, and then it stopped moving. In one desperate motion, Nate kicked upward, grabbed the scruff of the animal's neck, and used the last of his strength to force them both to the surface. He gasped air, sweet, freezing air, and flailed toward the rope. A hook caught his arm. Hands grabbed him. The bear bobbed next to him, limp, as Tommy and Lucas hauled them in. The moment they were back on deck, the bear collapsed. Nate, barely conscious, slumped beside it, coughing up seawater. "Get blankets," Lucas roared, "and someone check Nate." But Nate pushed the hands away, eyes locked on the motionless bear. Is he breathing? The deck was silent again, except for the sound of waves lapping against the hull. The animal didn't move. Tommy kneeled beside it, placing a hesitant hand on its side. I think he's still alive. Barely. Help me, Nate rasped. We're not letting him die out here. The men exchanged nervous glances. He's a wild animal, Nate. He could wake up and rip us all apart. We've got no gear for this, no plan. Nate stood on wobbly legs, drenched and shivering. Neither did he. He didn't choose this. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Lucas sighed, wiping a hand down his weathered face. Fine. But if he wakes up swinging, I'm jumping overboard. They worked fast. Nets were pulled around the bear's form to prevent movement if it stirred. Old fishing tarps were laid over its body to trap heat. One man monitored its breathing while another ran below for the satellite radio. They had no medical equipment, no training, just a stubborn drive to keep a creature alive that never should have been out here in the first place. Nate sat beside the bear, still clutching its damp fur. You hang in there, okay? Just hang on. A low groan escaped the animal's throat. Not a growl, not a snarl, just a sound, weak, tired, like a child on the edge of sleep. And then, nothing. The bear stopped breathing. No, 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 Nate shouted. Help me, he's not breathing. Lucas dropped beside him. What the hell do you expect me to do, Nate? I'm not a vet. Nate didn't answer. He leaned down, tilted the bear's massive head, cleared its nose and mouth as best he could, and began pressing gently on its chest, rhythmically with both hands. Come on. Come on. A second. A third. The entire deck holding its breath. Then the bear jerked. A wet cough. A rush of seawater. The creature spasmed, then fell still again, this time its chest slowly rising and falling. Nate collapsed backward, eyes wet, laughing in disbelief. You're insane, Lucas said, looking at his brother. Maybe, Nate breathed, but he's alive. The silence that followed was different, heavier, not from fear or confusion, but from awe. What they'd just seen wasn't natural, it wasn't explainable, and it was far from over. As the men quietly gathered, the morning sun glinted off the silvery surf along the rocky coastline of southern Alaska. A young male bear, barely past his second year, prowled the narrow beach, nose to the wind. He had been alone for just over a month now. His mother had driven him away after raising him through 2 long winters. A normal rite of passage. But nothing about what followed had been normal. He was hungry. That gnawing, hollow kind of hunger that made the world spin and instincts override logic. He smelled salmon upriver. But another scent hit first. A massive, older male emerged from the brush, twice his size, jaws slightly agape, eyes cold and territorial. A warning growl. The young bear didn't challenge. He turned and bolted. The sand disappeared under his paws, turning to sharp rock, then to slippery kelp. Still, he ran. The sound of the other bear's roar echoed behind him. With nowhere else to go, he did the unthinkable. He dove into the sea. Water crashed around him as he swam blindly, driven by panic, not reason. The tide was rising. Currents unseen beneath the surface pulled at his limbs. He paddled harder. The coastline disappeared behind him, swallowed by mist. No land, no scent, no direction, just water, and hunger, and fear. Back to present day. Nate coughed seawater as Lucas and Tommy hauled him back onto the Kathleen May. His muscles ached, his chest burned. But the bear was breathing. The young creature lay limp, soaked and barely conscious on the deck, its sides heaving like bellows. Salt water streamed from its mouth and nose. Its fur clung to its ribs. It didn't fight. It couldn't. Lucas stared down at it. So, what now? You want to start a floating zoo? Tommy edged back. It's still a bear, man. What if it wakes up pissed? Nate wiped his face with the sleeve. Then we figure it out. You want to risk our lives for something that almost killed you 5 minutes ago? I saw its eyes, Nate replied. It wasn't attacking me. It was drowning. The crew stood silently for a moment, the only sound the creak of the boat and the ocean breathing around them. Fine. Lucas muttered. "But the minute that thing twitches, I'm grabbing the flare gun." Nate knelt beside the bear. It didn't even react. He touched its paw, ice cold. Its fur clung tightly to its emaciated frame. This bear had been fighting to survive long before they spotted it. "We need heat," Nate said. "Now." The men got to work. Tommy brought every spare net they had. Lucas fired up the generator and rerouted warmth from the cabin vents. Towels, tarps, dry sacks packed around the bear like a cocoon. Then came the fish. Slabs of halibut, gutted and laid near its muzzle. No reaction. Nate frowned. He's too weak to eat. Then the bear coughed once, twitched, and went completely still. "No," Nate breathed. He pressed a hand to its chest. "No, no, no." No pulse. Lucas stood back, already shaking his head. "He's gone, Nate." "He's not," Nate growled. He gritted his teeth and began pressing on the bear's side, mimicking chest compressions as best he could. "Come on, come on." The others looked on in stunned silence. No one dared interrupt. After 30 seconds that felt like hours, the bear jerked violently. A mouthful of seawater erupted from its throat, and it sucked in a rattling gasp. It was alive. Again. For the next hour, the fishermen worked in shifts. The bear stayed still but alert, its shallow breathing a fragile rhythm. Its eyes remained half-lidded, flicking open occasionally only to close again, lost in exhaustion. But tension hung thick in the air. Lucas sat sharpening a fillet knife methodically. Tommy avoided the deck altogether. "I still say this is crazy," Lucas said as Nate wrapped another dry towel around the bear's midsection. "We've got no idea what's wrong with it. No vet, no cage. If it wakes up wrong, then we deal with it." Lucas narrowed his eyes. "You think it understands what we did? That it'll somehow be grateful?" Nate didn't look up. "No, I don't think it'll be grateful. I just think it wants to live. That's all I need to know." Tommy poked his head up from below. Guys? You need to see this." They followed him to the cabin's radar. The storm front appeared like a dark smear across the screen, huge, fast-moving, and headed straight for them. Wind speeds were already picking up. Lucas cursed. That thing wasn't on the report this morning. "We can make a run for Pelican Harbor," Tommy offered. "Barely 4 hours out." Nate shook his head. "If we push full speed through this, the bear won't survive. He's still recovering. We'll lose the insulation if the waves toss us." "Then what?" Lucas barked. "We sit here and wait to sink?" Nate stared out the window, fists clenched. The wind howled across the water, rattling loose ropes. "No," he said finally. "We anchor behind Black Point. Ride it out there. It'll buy him time." Lucas looked like he wanted to argue, but said nothing. By the time they secured the boat in the narrow cove, the clouds had already swallowed the sun. Thunder rolled in the distance. Below deck, the bear stirred. Nate stood over him, offering a strip of fish. For the first time, the bear sniffed it. Then, slowly, opened its eyes. Deep brown. Wide, not wild, just confused. "You're okay," Nate said quietly. "You're safe." But the bear's breathing quickened. Its muscles twitched. Then, with a sharp jolt, it scrambled to its feet, dripping towels and netting, fur bristling. The crew froze. Tommy backed toward the ladder. "He's up." Lucas reached for the flare gun, finger tense on the trigger. "Don't move." Nate held up both hands. "Easy. Easy." The bear swayed slightly. Then its eyes locked onto Nate, and panic erupted. With a sudden, desperate roar, the bear reared up, massive paws outstretched. The netting caught beneath its legs, tangling it. Nate didn't move. "It's okay." But the bear lunged. Lucas shouted. Tommy screamed. The boat pitched as a wave struck the hull, and Nate disappeared beneath the weight of the charging bear.